Hey guys, so we can actually get started today. Hey Jim.
Hi.
We can actually get started today. We're not streaming live into the group anymore, so we don't have to go through that Facebook rigmarole, which is lovely.
Nice.
How are you doing?
So far so good. We're day 2 into the weeding.
Yep.
Seems to be doing pretty good.
Yay.
Yeah, really good. My 8-year-old's here with us, so he wanted to share something for like this is like our 3-month mark into the program. So
yeah.
He wanted to share something. This Miss Andi.
Does he want to come on video, or did you want to say?
Oh yeah, I'm already on video, but
I don't have you on my video. You're kind of a black screen. Would you like me to change that?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 1 second. And unmute you and then ask to start video. We shall see. There we go. I can see you. Oh, I love your flag.
Yeah, a Texas flag.
It's not really.
It's a Zoom background.
That's awesome.
I have a Zoom background. So.
Yeah,
all right.
All right, Chip. So we don't have a lot of time. So
my daddy is good, and the thing that's good is that he's working very hard into the comp stuff, and that's what I wanted to share.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Well, remember what we talked about earlier? You remember? Remember how my attitude and everything?
Oh, his attitude? It's good. Very good.
So is there anything that before you weren't doing with your daddy that you get to do now because he's maybe has a little more energy or is calmer?
What were y'all doing just today? You were playing with your what?
Oh, playing with one of my games that we just set up today.
No way. Isn't that awesome that your dad has enough energy to play games with you?
Oh, yes.
I think he had too much energy and was not letting the kids play.
That would never happen.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
One's awake, one's asleep.
Okay, so just so you know, because your daddy's working on his gut a little bit right now, he's going to have some really good days, and he's going to have days where he might be like he was before a little bit. They're going to kind of go back and forth, but he's going to start having more and more good days and less bad days in there.
Okay.
Sound like a plan? So when your dad is sometimes having those bad days, maybe you can ask him to teach you how to do some of the breathing exercises. And when he's having a bad day, what if you asked him, Daddy, can we maybe stop right now and do some breathing?
I forgot to tell you, we already know 1 out of 2.
Yeah.
Well, I know all 2. He knows 1 and I know 2. Well,
okay, so then maybe you can teach him one of them. Can you teach him the one he doesn't know?
Like the one that
It's
okay. He already knows that. I forgot we both know it.
Oh, that's awesome then. So you guys can work at it together. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm so happy that you're getting more time with your dad again. I bet that means a lot to him as well.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. The little one wanted to come, but he's asleep.
That's okay. Mine just went to bed too. So yeah, they're asleep. It's a different time here. It's 8 o'clock at night here. Cool. All right. Is Karen there too?
Yep. She's next to us.
Here. Hi.
Do you have a report to give?
No,
what do you have to report?
Yeah, it's so good. Can I just unplug it?
Yeah.
Sorry, he had to leave. The attitude just in general has been so much better. He's not waking up at like 4 a.m. and staying in the bathroom for an hour to an hour and a half Like that's a huge one because it wakes me up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's been in the bathroom. And I'm like, you know, and I'll like fall back asleep and look up and he's still in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So that's, hey, yeah, Daddy. Yeah. Have you noticed, Trip, that Daddy's in the bathroom not as much anymore? Yeah. That's a big one, is he's not spending as much time in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And
On so many levels. So many levels.
oh yeah. It's so sad. He comes out of the bathroom this morning and he goes, I had a solid poop.
Yay!
I mean, it's like
huge. When is the last time that happened though?
Yeah, it's been forever. It's been forever. And so we you know, so it's little victories and stuff. And he's,
That's
you know, like yeah. And so like, you know, I went and did our grocery shopping. And so I, you know, went and bought a bunch of vegetables and, you know, the berries that he's supposed to have. And so tonight, like I cut up a bunch of zucchini and, you know, broccoli and, you know, put it on a sheet pan with some olive oil and salt and pepper and roasted it. And I said, it's a whole big pan, you know, some carrots. And this way it's already cooked. You could just take it out and heat it up. You know, we bought a rotisserie chicken and we shredded it. So that way we've got, you know, we have lots of options. Because that's his thing, is if he doesn't have food, he's going to go back to what he knows, which is fast food.
Yeah. I mean, but that's what you do when you don't have the energy and when all of your time is in the bathroom and you're so exhausted, and making a sandwich is the most exhausting thing in the world. You can't even fathom making food or getting it ready or doing those things. Like, it's so interesting when your mind is just so when your body's just done.
Exactly.
So, yay. That's absolutely so amazing. All right.
Yeah, we're doing everything we can to make this program as successful as we can.
Yeah, and it can't be successful without you putting in the work. Like, we just teach you the steps and guide and suggest, but it's how much work you put in on your end and following the steps and trusting us. So just thank you for trusting us.
Yeah. Hey, we're, you know, it's been I guess 90 days now, and now we're really kind of getting into it. We've got all the tests done, and you know, he's out of that study, he's on Humira, which you know, I don't, you know, who knows if the Humira is working or if it's the program, I don't know. The combination is a winner.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is hopefully, like, as we start getting his gut stronger and all of that, he can talk with his doctor about the Humira when he's ready. And when he's at the stage, we have a lot of healing to do on that gut first, right? Like, there's a lot of inflammation we need to heal, get those bacteria out of there. And but yeah, one solid poop. That's huge.
Which is something you don't talk with a lot of people about.
We don't. There was one day in here where somebody was like, are we ever going to have a call without talking about poop? I'm like, not until your guts are clear, like guts are fixed, because there's such a huge thing. And the thing too with this is you're seeing that it wasn't all mental.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, and I think I knew it wasn't a mental problem because he's been having these issues for so long. I knew it was his gut. I knew there was issues with his gut, and I never thought it was mental. It wasn't until we started talking to you that I realized the mental that it was. I didn't know it was. That, you know, that the stress and the anxiety and all that lives, you know, in the gut. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I learned something, you know, through the process as well. So
amazing. All right. Well, this is great. Just ask when you have questions, just ask, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does Jim have anything else to add?
Oh, he's back from the restroom.
Sorry. No, I'm good for right now. You know, I mean, I'm basically
solid poo. You had a solid poo.
So yes, this morning I did. Just now, not so much, but it's getting better than it was. So it's actually starting to form up. So that's positive. And I think I went once or twice this morning.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good session though. I mean, it's
not like how you would be in the bathroom for an hour,
yeah,
an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. And I basically worked my whole shift today, without much of anything. So without any consequence. So, I mean, yeah, I'm eating chicken and broccoli and green beans, and it's not much,
But you're
but
even able to absorb them.
yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's like, okay, so I got to eat this way for a little bit and then maybe introduce some things later on down the road.
Yeah.
But for right now, be strict about it. And then we introduce something and then we know it's food wise
Mm-hmm.
and not disease wise. So, now I'll be honest with you, cutting out the sugar, I've cut my sugar in half. So that's a plus.
Just think that until you get it to 0, you're still feeding that bacteria.
Yeah.
So it's not, and then I'm not saying that in a negative, mean way. It's just a
Right.
mindset way that it's like, it means that it's just going to be slower to get to the process, but it means we're still going to get there.
Yeah. So like for me, for instance, like I cut it in half, right? So like later in the week, because like later in the week, I'll cut it back even more and more, and then so
Okay.
that way in this week it's pretty much weeded out,
Okay.
and then I can go to water, and then or flavored waters, or with lime or lemons or whatever.
There's
So
a whole list of them in the topic section. So
yeah, I saw that.
around.
So
Hibiscus tea. Have you tried
yes,
hibiscus tea?
I'm
It's
going to.
it's
So
flavorful. It reminds me of almost like a fruity pop, like, but without the fizz.
right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's what we're working on now. And I mean, I'm pretty much singing the praises of the group. So people are starting to see it. They're asking about it. I'm like, I tell them, it's like, look, y'all pay $1,500 for deer leases, or y'all buy cars or guns or whatever. I was like, so you don't buy a gun this year. You invest in your health.
Yeah.
Or you don't do something. I was like, we as cops, we've done stupid stuff with our money that we just call it toys because we all want toys. But I was like, this is important.
And the fast
what
food too.
It was really good to talk to Mike at the extra job. So if he reaches out, he reaches out. If he doesn't, at least I gave him the information. So
yep, we're here whenever anyone is ready, and that's the thing, is they have to be ready. Sometimes he might just join the email list, go through that nurture. So my email list walks them through. So if they go onto my website and they sign up for the How to Beat Fatigue thing, it will start walking them through different phases: short fuse, some sleep, tired and wired, another one waking mid-sleep, gut issues. It'll start walking them through every single symptom slowly so they can start learning it at a problem level.
I got you.
And that's the thing. So one thing just to note when you are talking to other people, is there's 4 stages of awareness. So there's desire aware. So I want to start sleeping. I want my energy back. I don't want to be yelling when I'm at home. That's desire aware. Problem aware is understanding why. So I can't fall asleep because my cortisol is totally out of whack and sitting in the frontal lobe of my brain, and my brain can't fall asleep. Or my gut's totally out of whack because there's obviously like some stomach acid or bacteria issues. And motivation and drive, or anxiety and acids, is because the serotonin in my gut isn't picking up, and because I'm kicking into my stress nervous system. So that's problem aware. And then we get to solution aware, and that's when we teach them about the different solutions and why some work and some don't. And then we only get to telling them about what I do. So kind of let's relate it to nutrition. So let's say somebody's sitting there and talking to you with nutrition about this amazing whatever diet that they're on, and like they're like, oh, you've got to try this diet, but you don't even know. You're like, well, I don't have a problem.
Right.
And how's that get, like, I don't have a problem. Why do I really need to eat that salad or whatever, right? So sometimes when we're talking to people too, we have to backtrack to where they're at.
Mhm.
So it's really understanding. So we want to go and I love that you want to like be telling them all about my program, but sometimes they don't even understand the problem.
Gotcha.
So you could be telling them about the program, but they don't still understand how that's going to help them. So it's sometimes it's a longer step to
Yeah.
get there. But that's where like I nurture them in my emails and teaching them about the different steps and the different phases. And sometimes too, like understanding that, as you know, the anger is not just a mental thing. It is sometimes the body and the gut and the hormones and the nervous system and all of those things all together.
Yeah.
So it's really getting them to understand the problem first. And that's with everything, like on a call that you go to, right? You could sit there and try to tell a domestic, like, hey, you need to stop hitting your wife. But if you don't dig into why they're even fighting and what the problem is that's going on in their house, your advice is going to go on deaf ears.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
sometimes it is when we're talking to people, we get so excited and we want to tell them like exactly what we're doing and what they should be doing or how they can be doing this and all of that. But if they don't understand the actual problem, then they're not going to get it. So sometimes
So
too, sorry.
we had kind of a kindred spirit because he has Crohn's disease. He just had quintuple bypass surgery due to the inflammation in his heart.
Yep.
And so, you know, he was like, man, I got to do something. And I was like, and he goes, you're doing something, you know? So like, he actually saw it and I was like, man, I found this lady in Canada. She prescribed, we got 3 tests done, found out I got like some bacteria overgrowth and like one that's really nasty and it's really bad for inflammation and stuff. And I've got a specific supplement plan that I got mapped out to me. So like what I'm taking may not be the same as what you take because your minerals may be all out of whack and everything. I'm like, but get these tests, get it done and see what it is. And he's like, okay. And then he comes back and he goes, is it working? I was like, you can see, you know, like something's working, you know, I mean, you know,
Yeah. And
and
he may need
so,
another month or two to watch you,
yeah,
observe the changes. Um, yeah, wasn't the hair mineral analysis interesting?
yes, very much so.
Oh,
Especially because I always knew that I'd be exposed to like radiation,
mhm.
just didn't know how much of it because of all the stuff that has radioactive materials in it that are in an inert phase or an inert thing unless they're heated up and
Yeah.
excited by fire. So that was an eye-opening thing. And then lead, I knew lead because
Mhm.
everything's pretty much got lead in it.
Yeah.
Um,
So tackle
but
your gut first, and then we can get those toxins down in
oh
you
sure,
after.
I'll be a different person in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with because what my main goal is that I want to go back to my doctor in a year when he does my colonoscopy and like my colon's clean, everything's good.
Inflammation's down.
Yeah, everything's down. And when they run the blood test, everything's good, you know, and they're like, well, what did you do? I was like, well, you know, that stuff that you laughed at and told me I was crazy for trying and that you refused to support it. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, and if it worked for me in my advanced case of what I've got,
Yeah.
why not give this to the folks that are just starting on the Crohn's path?
Yeah.
Nip it in the bud. Yeah, you might have to take the maintenance medications that they have, but you're not having to give them biologics that are cancer causing.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
unless they really need it, you know, I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's that. My mom's like noticed a little bit a change, so she wants to know if you know of anybody in the states that works with folks, you know, that are in their 60s or 70s, and that would do this kind of testing and all of that. That are
Alyssa.
kind of similar to you and all that. So because
Alyssa.
she, Alyssa,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. So the Alyssa and I, we talk all the time actually. So Alyssa is bringing a little bit of vagus nerve into her program and stuff. Like, cause
okay,
Alyssa and I meet like every month now, and we're like,
okay,
she's the one that helped me to make sure that I had all the gut stuff that I needed in here.
okay,
Um, and I still like we meet every every month, Alyssa and I have a meeting with one another. So the difference between Alyssa and I is pretty much we do a very similar thing. It's just that my specialty is first responders. So it's all the shift work, circadian rhythms. We also do a little more hormonal stuff here. Alyssa doesn't do hormonal.
Okay.
Did your mom have the gut issues? Like what issues is she wanting?
Well, so like my mom has a mass on her liver that's cancerous, that's inoperable. So
Okay.
they can't cut it because it's on an artery.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody wants to cut it. Nobody wants to do anything with it. So I told her, I said, look, I was like, we got to find out what I was like, I know you're eating sugar because I'm probably sure you're eating breads and glutens and all of that. And so I'm probably pretty sure that she's getting a healthy supply of sugar, because where else would I get a sugar diet from? Parents, right? So that's where, and so I'm pretty sure that, like there's got to be something in her, and she's really overweight, like, and has been most of her adult life. Well, at least for the last 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'd be curious to dig into her gut stuff. So I have a history, my background in personal training, I did work a lot with like morbidly obese people actually.
Right.
And the thing is with understanding that is there is a big mental component to that as well, that they have to be ready to make the changes.
Yeah.
And that's where gut though, when there are gut issues present to the degree like you have, there is a big mental thing to want to change. So like with all of that, she has to be mentally ready and wanting to make changes and to do it. She has to want to and to be ready. Alyssa does the gut stuff, hair mineral analysis. I mean, your mom can totally do a hair mineral analysis through us. That's not a big deal. Just do it and book a private with Jamie. That's fine. That's not a big deal. She wants to do that.
Yeah.
Depending on if she has gut stuff, then we could be digging into the gut. But if her gut isn't bugging her too much, it could be nutritional. I do then know of other holistic nutritionists. I can even talk to Jamie. I can talk to Alyssa. Find out who they know that deals with weight loss from a holistic nutritionist point of view. Something our testing.
Yeah, something like to get her gut. She wants somebody that she can deal with in the States. So I don't know that she would. She's not that tech savvy to deal with. I know how to deal with y'all being in Canada, and then how to get things in the States and vice versa.
And well, yeah, and we have links and everything for you guys.
Yeah. So I mean, but I don't know that she would. I don't know that she would actually really thrive with a base, a web-based component like we have.
So she needs somebody that's in-house. So you know what? Let me talk to Jamie and see if Jamie used to live in the States and stuff too.
Okay.
But she has to want to make the changes, because until
I think she's at that point, because she's reaching out to me, because I told her, like, look, I was like, I was just done after that 3 weeks I was off, and I was sick as a dog, and I felt terrible. I mean, my eyes were sunken in. I was ashen. I was like, this just ain't no way to live. I mean, I even told my wife that. I was like, this is no way to live. She thought I was going to commit. She thought I was going to kill myself. I was like, no, I'm saying this gut issue, this I've been following the doctor's rules and following what they've told me to do. It's not working. This is not a quality of life I wish to have. I know there's something out there better.
Yeah.
And then we found you, and then it was like eye-opening that, like stuff I had actually been reading about and asked about H. pylori, and they were like, nah, don't worry about that. It's rare. I'm like, if it's so rare, then why is it common in everybody?
Crazy though. You were still in the 3s, I think, for H. pylori. I was in the 5s.
Yeah.
like my results for H. pylori and SIBO were way above yours. I'm like, how? But it's so interesting because I wasn't on the meds you were on.
Right.
I didn't have the same damage in my colon as you've
got.
and I've been eating gluten, dairy-free, and pretty much a SIBO diet for 25 years.
Yeah.
So interesting though, eh? Okay, so let me talk to Jamie about your mom.
Okay.
Yeah, let me talk to her. And then for you, you're on weeding. And Jamie and I were talking about it, and because of where you're at with things as well, people that do have a lot of diarrhea and a lot of like the severe gut issues, 4 weeks of weeding is usually it. I know for me, the last week of weeding is when my bowels get loose again and I start living off of pumpkin.
Right.
And I couldn't go more than 4 weeks of weeding. So I do the 4 weeks and then I do 4 of replenish and just back and forth, 4 and 4, back and forth until you're symptom free. You'll find that each round gets better and better. My first round of replenish. So you haven't gotten much into replenish with, that was a lot of information overload to go with Jamie on the
Well, so we talked about it. Like, I'm gonna get like a 300,000 colony forming unit probiotic, which, you know, I was like, I thought 50,000 was a lot. No, 300,000, and she says we might even double it for you because with the amount of antibiotics I've had in my body, that it's probably so low that it's probably never formed. It would take years to recover from the amount of antibiotics I've been given.
Yeah.
Especially since I was giving them intravenously for 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go into the SIBO module, it really breaks down probiotics. So give that a read because you'll find it very fascinating. There's the 3 strains. There's the SAC-B, lactobacillus, and the bifidus bacterium. So there's 3 strains. The SAC-B is the one that is more your stomach and more the gut lining. The lacto and the bifidus, one of them is more upper colon and one of them is more small intestine, one of them's more large. So you want all 3 strains eventually and all together. If you're finding as well that the one that Jamie gives you, your gut just gets way too pissed off, then we break it down where you only start with a sac. So like I take like a SAC-B, I call them SAC-Bs, it's Saccharomyces boulardii. So like the SAC-Bs, I remember my first round of replenish, I could only handle SAC-B. I couldn't handle any other strains with it. And now I take like ridiculous amounts of strains all the time.
Right.
To be building up so many different varieties and different types and getting them, because you don't want to be taking the same bottle all the time either. You do like what she's given you. I'm pretty sure I know the one that she's given you. It's a really good variety of strains, different strains, a lot of different things.
She hadn't told me which ones to buy yet. So, I mean,
yeah,
but she said she would. So I was like, yeah, I'm good with that. She's really good with information. So,
yeah, it is.
I'm good for right now.
Okay.
I mean, I'm good. I'm in a good place.
Okay, so just keep reading that SIBO module. You'll find that like reading through it now, you'll get a bunch of information, but then you'll read it through in like a month and a half, and you'll be like, oh, I missed this, this, and this because of the overwhelm of information that's in there. Like it's pretty much a program in a program.
Gotcha.
And then you'll read it again, like in 4 or 5 months, and you'll be like, okay, I can do this. So yeah, keep going. Keep checking in with that module. Before you do weeding, read the weeding again. Before you do replenish, read the replenish again. Because you'll start learning it and it'll start making more sense with the probiotics and all that stuff too, and building it up and getting.
Sounds good. Well, I got to be back to work in a couple hours, so I'm getting ready to go to bed. But I just wanted to share with you, and my family wanted to share with you. So we'll check back in we'll have the family check back in 6 months and let you know where we're at, and
absolutely,
and do that and stay on the calls. But I appreciate what y'all do. Thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing from you about my mom too. So
yeah, I'll check with Jamie on that. Tomorrow I'm in a conference all day. I'll try to do it tomorrow, but it might be Thursday.
That's fine. There's no rush.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
My
Bye.
pleasure. Bye. Okay, so we had a couple of questions today. So that one was there. I'm gonna do Jason Ingersoll. I'm gonna go over your question. So Jason, I just wanted to touch on some things with you. So I want to first acknowledge that the pain that you're in and what you're experiencing in your colon, um, it's horrible. And what you are experiencing is it's not where your body should be at all. So, and it's scary when you've been going to doctors and trying to get help and doing all of these different things with them and not making progress or getting worse. So I just want to acknowledge that where you're at and what you're feeling is very valid. I'm not sure, like the frustration that you're feeling, the pain that you're feeling, the sense of like, what the heck do I do? All of that is completely valid. Keep expressing it to us, keep telling us. We are totally here to walk you. There's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days, and that's totally cool. So I wanted to just touch on first a little bit of an understanding of, or explaining, teaching of how all of your gut systems work, so that you could see why we have the lessons in the order that we have them and why they are so important. So we start off with the motivation reboot phase, which is the rhodiola and the magnesium. So the reason we start that, it's pretty much like boosting your car. And so when your hormones are completely out of whack, it stresses everything out. It gets your sleep off track. It gets your moods off track. It gets your digestive system off track. Everything gets thrown off track. Your stress system is in charge of 50 hormone responses. So it's really important for us to start regulating that. So the rhodiola and the magnesium are working together to regulate that 24-hour cycle of your body that is totally thrown off from shift work, from stress, from all kinds of things. So the rhodiola first thing in the morning is getting that cortisol up a little higher, midday supporting it as well. And then it's supposed to be lowering at night, and the magnesium lowers it. So it starts the circadian rhythm. So that's why it's very important to do the first thing in the morning and the midday. Now, it is like boosting your car. With your car, if you boost that battery, but you don't lift the hood of the engine and dig under that car and figure out why that battery died in the first place, the battery's going to die again. So rhodiola is going to, which it did for you for a little bit, give you that little bit of an oomph. Okay. Now, the thing is what often happens in us, I know this is 100% me. And when I'm saying us, I know it's some of you guys, is when we get that rise from the rhodiola, we push our bodies more because we're like, "Ooh, I have the energy. I can do this. I can push." And so we push to that point. And then what happens though is that battery, your stress system, like the rhodiola was trying to work at getting you more strength, but now we've pushed it again. So the rhodiola now drops us down to here again. So we're pretty much pushing, we're revving our engine to its max when your engine is not ready to be maxed out. Okay. So when rhodiola is giving you that support, as hard as it is, try not to increase things. So try not to do more things that are going to push any of your stress systems. So the stress systems we have is, oh man, I just blanked out. We have physical stress. So we have exercising more, pushing in our workouts, doing workouts that are harder. We have mental stress. So it could just be adding more to your plate, worrying about certain things, all of that. We have, oh, also the physical too. You've also got then your nervous system that's overfiring, which we dig into with the breathing and the water. Being dehydrated is physical. We have environmental, which is what we get into a little later in the program, but those can tax your system huge. There's so many different environmental factors. Our laundry soaps, anything with the synthetic fragrance, I did go through that at one point. I believe you guys do have access to the hormone disruptors or Think Dirty. I'm not sure what the module is called. A little later on in the program, I think we have that opened up for you guys. So if you do want to go in there and look at it now, if you're ready for that, that it might be information overload too. So that's okay. But I'm just thinking about taking stressors out. The other one is illness and injury. So with COVID happening, with being sick, with having flus, with getting injured, every time that that happens, that pushes your system as well. So for my husband as well, for his rhodiola, he finds when there's certain deadlines at work, he's in logistics. With COVID hitting, they were under major deadlines, trying to figure things out, doing different things. When they have new projects coming up, those things may not sound like they stress you out, but depending on where his stress system is at, he sometimes needs to, those are the days that he now needs his rhodiola because he doesn't need it every day. But when you're at the start, when you're starting it, you need it every day. And if you're taxing yourself, sometimes that's when we have to up the dose. So we have usually the max is 2 and 2 for the rhodiola by Thorne of 200 and 200 milligrams. If you need to adjust your dosage, anything like that, definitely check with Jamie. That's her wheelhouse. That's her thing. I'm not suggesting that you do it. I'm suggesting that if you find that you're off, first we look at the stressors that are going on. And then the second thing that we look at is if there has been something that we can't change. So I know there's like some fire halls that are totally getting COVID, and all of the other stations around have to be splitting their man to cover that station too. When their men, they've got a lot of men down too from COVID. So those extra hour shifts you can't handle, that's when right now we will up the rhodiola then to manage that. So it's one of those things where we first try to manage the stressors. Nutritionally is another one. So the thing is to understand our medical system, we need them. They are built on triage. They are built on crisis medicine. We need them. Like all the guys here that are EMT paramedics, we need your kind of medicine, but your medicine is to make sure that you are dealing with the problem that is at hand right now. It's not digging into the root cause, which is like our 12-month program digs into the root cause of your stress system being low. So triage medicine, what our doctors do, they give you drugs, they give you prescriptions for things that are there to triage things, to quickly fix a symptom, but not dig under the hood for the root of the cause. And that's what we're doing with the holistic side in this program. We need both sides of the medicine, not that, but what does happen, which is very interesting, unfortunately, is with doctors, with all practitioners, with everybody, is that this is different policing too, where you feel like if you're on a border with another police or like state and, okay, I'm going to mess this up, state and sheriff, I don't know, or like you've got city and just how you have all your regions, if it's two different services, but you're both on the same call, there tends to be this competition or feeling like, hey, we can't work together. We've got to keep all the information to ourselves. And when we get into our medical system, quite often we get our doctors don't necessarily want to work with holistic nutritionists. My doctor says that she does, but I just sent her all of my results. I was trying to get some blood work done. And I was sending her all of my results of all of my gut testing that I've ever done. And the person that called me said, oh, we don't know how to read that. It's very simple to read those tests. Like anyone in here who's done those testing, it actually tells you, they actually tell you the results on the test of what you're taking from the person in the lab, gives you the results on those tests. So they're like, oh, I don't know how to read those tests. I don't know how to do that. And they started listing all of the tests that they've done with me that have failed through 25 years of trying to figure out my gut issues. And it's like, I'm like, okay, well, I just presented you something that's worked, that's helped me to get out of this. Why won't we even look at it? And it's one of those things of competition. And it's so unfortunate that if our doctors and our holistic practitioners were able to work together more, we could solve so many of the medical issues together, where there's points where there's triage, cancer, breaks, major surgeries, like all of these things. We need that that triage medicine for, but we also need that preventative holistic side. So getting into that, that's where we struggle a lot with doctors. When they start giving you things, they're not trained in the preventative holistic side. So when doctors are suggesting that you up your fibers, I know when I was going to a doctor, I knew I had gluten issues, and I was eating all of these really great fibers, like all your broccoli and your greens and all of these vegetables and fruits and all these great fibers. She goes, you should start eating fiber fortified cereals. And she was suggesting all the ones that had gluten in them, All Brand being one of them. There's gluten, there's a lot of different preservatives in them. There's a lot of different crap that when your system is already struggling, that will make it struggle even more. That would have put me into a disaster. So that is where I kind of have a rule of nothing in a shiny wrapper, nothing in a package. We don't do like packaged cereals in our house. We don't do really anything in a shiny wrapper, because there's usually a lot of preservatives and a lot of stuff that do irritate your gut. So with that being said, it sounds like you're doing some amazing, lots of fruits and vegetables, and lots of really good fibrous greens, which is absolutely amazing. Keep doing that. And then, so I kind of got off track. I'm sorry, with all of your stress triggers and why we were working on the motivation reboot with the rhodiola. But sorry, I ended up going into your gut. So with that, we need to be taking out the stressors. So water is hugely important, but getting that electrolyte drink in is almost more important. Well, it's as important, they're equally important. The electrolyte drink, what it does is it has that sodium, potassium, different things. Your adrenals, your stress system flies through sodium, potassium. So does your gut. When you are constipated, you are constantly stressing your body out and working your stress system like crazy. So you're flying through sodium, potassium. Also, if you're just drinking water, so let's imagine when you've got constipation, it's like a dry sponge. When you first try to wet a sponge, if you're pouring water on it, some of the water just starts pouring over the sponge. It can't absorb it. You have to actually do a little bit of water, or let's think of a dry ground. When you're in the dry ground and you're watering it, the water just runs off. So you need to give a little bit there so it can soak in a little bit. And then you put a little bit more and it soaks in. And as that water starts, the ground starts having more and more water in it, it can actually absorb more and more water. So that is what happens in your colon when you're constipated. So we need to bring that salt brine in. And the salt brine, what it will do is actually gets into the colon and helps to soak up more water into your colon to make your stools softer. So that is also going to help and get that going. The truffula is what gets the colon moving. So we've got the water and the salt brine. We have the truffula to get that sodium moving, or sorry, the colon moving. And then we add in that magnesium citrate, and that starts loosening in it. Now, when we first started this, your colon past your small intestine was so dry that once we started moving what was in your small intestine, the upper part under your ribs here, right under there, when we were getting that part there loosened, it couldn't go any further and it was causing you that pain. So we got the truffula in, which started moving it a little bit. We need to get more water. 100 ounces is your minimum. If you could get up to more, try 120 and work up to like 140. Really start getting your water up even more and adding in 1 to 2 of those electrolyte drinks a day. That is going to start absorbing that more in. now that we have that colon moving from the truffula, then we can now add in that magnesium citrate and we can get that going. Once we get you having regular poops with softer stools that are not hurting you, then we can start adding in some ground flax a little bit. And what that does is it starts almost scraping your colon and helping to really get the other remnants of what's in there out so that we can start getting your colon really moving. For people that are really, really, really stuck, there's a couple of things that they can do. There's castor oil packs and there's enemas, water enemas. Oh, my kid's sleeping in my bedroom because I'm in his right now. I would show you my enema bucket. You can get on Amazon an enema bucket. Sometimes for people that are really, 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 really constipated, you can do 3 enemas, 3 of these waters. So it's a bucket about like this that you hang above, connect the spout, goes in your butt, do it in the bathroom, lots of blankets on the floor, and you're going to be laying there. And you get it to go in very, very slow. Now, what it will do, because we have been trying, water goes in from the top, but if we can bring water in from the bottom and start getting it to absorb and getting some of what is so hard and so stuck in there looser, then we can start getting that out a bit. So that is an option if you would like to start really softening that stool from the other end. It's not fun, it's not pretty, but if you can on a Saturday, like do 3 in one day, you may find you may not even poop after doing 3 in one day if you're so backed up. It's the next day that you may actually finally go to the bathroom. But getting that water in from the other end is another way to help that, to soften those stools and get them going so that we can actually start getting your colon moving. Once we get that going, we get that out so that you actually have stuff moving in your colon. Then you can figure out your doses of the magnesium citrate, the truffula, and the flax seeds once you even start adding those in. So it is a very slow process. It is not something that you do all at once, as you know. So you've worked on the truffula. Now we're going to work on increasing that water, salt brine, and getting that magnesium citrate in. Okay. And as we're going through that, and we're taking out, if you can take out that all bran, increase your magnesium citrate. You can go up to 6 teaspoons of magnesium citrate in a day. And it doesn't have to be at night. It can be mixed throughout the day. So mix it throughout the day. Magnesium citrate, totally fine. It's different than the biglycinate that you take before bed. You can go up to 6 teaspoons. So absolutely go up to that if you need. Work your way up so that it's that roundabout of what that cereal was giving you versus the magnesium citrate then doing what it needs to do without damaging your gut. That L-brand can really damage your colon walls. Now we're going to get into the next module. So we've gone through the motivation reboot as to why the magnesium and the rhodiola or the adaptogen was in there. And then we get into the water and also why the adaptogen can sometimes lower. Okay, so that's when we're pushing. So if your gut is starting to act up, that pushes, that's a stress on you. And then when we're stressing about that more, it gets there. So that, and then we have the water, and then we have breathing. So that breathing module is so, so, so important because that is the start of training your vagus nerve. You do your tactical breathing on calls all the time, but we need to get this tactical breathing where you're doing it during the day. So as soon as you feel any pain, start breathing in through your nose because that touches part of your vagus nerve here on the left side. And then fill your belly because that's where all the unmyelinated sheaths of your vagus nerve are. The unmyelinated sheath is like that wire without the rubber coating. So you can really, really hit those nerves of your vagus nerve, which calms down your gut. So it really will just let your gut calm down and do its thing. Breathing is so important. If I don't know where you're at after that, then we work on sleep. And then I'm off. But those are the first things. We really, really, really need to make sure that we have that solid base, really big solid base in the beginning. And then once you have that solid base, then you can start even adding in the courageous ball exercises, which if you go to the topic section in this group, in the Mighty Networks group, if you go into there, there's courageous ball exercises, and you can go in and start doing some specific for your gut. They can help trapped gas. They can help as you have more water in your colon. When you have more water in your colon, when the magnesium citrate is working, you can start working it out a little bit more with the ball, but also doing the balls just for the vagus nerve. So some of them that are on the side of the ribs is really good for getting that more of your vagus nerve going. So look into those things, because the more that we train your vagus nerve, your stress nerve is probably so strong, so turned in, so dialed in, that we need to really be shifting out of it. So try those things. So rhodiola, magnesium biglycinate, get into that 24-hour cycle. Water is up, salt brine with your water. So try to get up to 120 ounces a day, salt brine and the cream of tartar in that water in your day. Magnesium citrate, up your magnesium citrate. You can, I'm not saying start at 6 teaspoons, because that could end you up majorly in the bathroom or in major pain in your upper abs. You got your 2 tripholas, just work a half a teaspoon every 2 days up of your magnesium citrate. And then breathing, hugely important, breathing, and get into that courageous ball. Okay. And you have every right to be frustrated right now. Every right. You have every right to be frustrated. You have every right to be worried about what to do because of how much pain you're in, and you do not know if you can handle more pain. So listen to your body, trust your body, go in small steps. You already have a lot of these things in play. We just need to really make sure that they're consistent and they're going, and get the processed fibers out and get the really good fibers in. Yeah, keep working on that, and we'll keep helping you. Keep asking your questions. Jamie has a call 900 hours Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, so I'm not sure if that works for you. Hop on a call with her, ask her all your questions. She's there to help you as well. And I hope that helps. So keep me posted, and we didn't have any other questions today, so keep me posted, and I will see you in the Mighty Networks group.